You want to basically be aware. Now is not the time to let our defenses down. Now, New York is bragging because New York has no new cases, but Texas does have cases. It's scientific fact that there is something out there that is limiting the breadth of people. Now, when I mean limiting the breadth, I don't mean one person limiting another person's breath. That's going on too. But we have to be hyper aware of washing our hands. Now, you're okay in your car. You know, you got these things to protect you, right? But there's no real reason for people right now to break the 6-foot rule. I mean, even protesters out there are still wearing masks and being somewhat aware. Body fluids and things like that. I mean, we do want to question authority when authority abuses power and does stupid things and careless. I mean, whether or not he died of a heart attack or he died of choking does not matter. The issue was he had a problem, and a cop should be trained similar to a paramedic and should be able to recognize a problem when someone's dying over a traffic stop. Regardless, we still have an invisible enemy. And I mean by invisible enemy, I mean a very, very, very powerful flu. Now that we have less cases, and most of the states do show less cases, even though there's spike in some cases because business have reopened, and New York is just now reopening, so we've got to be aware too. If we're going to reopen our businesses, we got to do it in a very responsible way, because we got next year to worry about. And if we got to close borders, give dispensable menus out, all waiters wearing masks, you know, I got this thing and I even rig it. You can see here, I put little knots on the end right here, make sure that it's tighter on my face. So when I'm wearing it, I'm not just loosely wearing it, but I'm also making sure that it's very secure, covering the nose here, and I don't go anywhere without this. And I even mix it sometimes with rubbing alcohol sometimes. That gives a very powerful effect. And also, I do deal with these things too. So occasionally, whenever I'm dealing with certain merchants, I'm going to wear gloves when handling certain things too. So if there's going to be major handling of exchange of certain things, I'm going to make sure that my practice is being hyper aware in 6 feet. And I tell people, I say, look, 6 feet. I even got in kind of a honking match with somebody, and even though we yelled at each other, we kept our 6 feet. And protesting, yelling and stuff like that, you can still do it and keep your 6 feet. Now here's another thing that I think is kind of weird, is these cops. Now cops are starting to show their true and bad colors, right? The cops that are kneeling, things like that, being respectful to the loss of life, showing good colors. Then you got cops that are tackling people and beating people up, protesters up. That's whenever that particular police department needs to do a review. Well, here's some people that don't need to be police officers, right? This guy's tackling another guy because he's protesting, he's venting. Well, to a certain extent, we still have our freedom of speech right, in the Constitution. And the First Amendment allows us to, we can go to a protest and yell and scream all we want. Does that deserve people being tackled? Well, for one thing, that cop is breaking the 6-foot rule, right? So, we got, like I said, there's got to be a valuation of humanitarianism, or to be a humane person, humanitarianism, or to be humane, humanitarianism. Okay, we're also trying to be humane and civil, right? Civil rights means I don't have the right to kill you over a stupid reason, right? And also another thing we got to look at: why are we getting people and tackling people that don't even have guns? You might as well just go into a grocery store, tackle somebody, and just kill them for no reason, right? I don't know. I still haven't. The news still haven't said what Floyd did in the first place to even deserve to be thrown down or even be thrown out of his car. Like, Well, we got to analyze. What we got to do is we got to get new laws. The new laws have to facilitate de-escalation and analyze de-escalation. So when we de-escalate something, we say, okay, what's the worth of pulling this guy out of the car? Or what's the worth of even pulling the guy over in the first place? What's the worth of it, right? Or even having him roll down the window. So obviously that cop not only should lose his job, but he may have to do some time, and this is not the first case. Now we're dealing, got some issue. We're dealing with 6 cases. Now we're dealing with 2 more cases of something that just now is making its notice on YouTube, which is got something going on right here. Yeah, it's got a white guy. Looks like it's maybe like a DWI case or something like that. But still, we got to keep our distance from people and make sure we're wearing masks. And it doesn't matter if you're a fireman, paramedic. And this should always be the case. It shouldn't just be because Corona's gotten crazy. I mean, people need to be respectful with their germs anyway. But anyway, the idea is to be respectful, to know that, we're citizens. And I'm wearing my Batman shirt and everything. But the idea is that we need to use these things to protect ourselves. And so what we're finding out now is Floyd is not the other case. There's another case that happened 3 months ago, and now it's just now airing. What did that guy do? Where's his funeral? And we're also kind of documenting how many cases are really out there that are unhidden. Body cam should be required. De-escalation policies upped, And also Corona. Be respectful. There are some cops that are kneeling, things like that. So, they're starting to be changed. But de-escalation is going to be a major thing, not just to protect us from abuse of power, but to protect us from Corona. Because Corona is a big issue, and it can come back next year. So there's got to be a lot of cases of us avoiding. Just de-escalation is basically a new policy.